Gracefully here. This one is a real favorite, and it's about something that I think we all do, or I hope we all do, holding on to things way past their expiration date because we're scared that letting go means we may have failed. And I had a podcast with two of my really, really great friends and colleagues. And when it ended, I had to reckon with the fact that not everything is meant to last forever. And that's not a tragedy. It's actually an incredibly loving thing. So enjoy this episode. And of course, please let me know everything that you think.
I want to talk a little bit about endings today. Not the dramatic kind, though. I certainly have those, but the really, really quiet ones. The endings that sort of sneak up and gently whisper to you, like, this has run its course. You know, I used to think that endings had to always be really painful and explosive, but I'm learning that they can be really kind and indicated, to be honest. And so, before I had the Daily Ascent, I had a podcast called Food Shrinks. I loved it. It was with my dear friends and colleagues, another woman named Molly and a woman named Clarissa. And it was just like really fun and easy and a little bit magical. We were just these like three food addiction therapists with like one sparky idea. And we just kind of like meet up and chat about things. And the thing is, we really just started this podcast without like a business plan, without a strategy. We just kind of like had an idea and went with it, which I love because that's not always the way that I do things, right? We just kind of wanted to talk about like the messy, miraculous process of recovery. And we did it for like a year. It was amazing. But during that year, life really started to expand for all of us. My schedule was filled, their schedule was filled, and you would be surprised how hard it is to find an hour a week with three people to film, right? And so, what was really, really effortless and fun began to feel like I wouldn't say burdensome, but I'd say as close to burdensome as we could get here. And if I was honest, I was not like living and dying for it the way that I was in the very beginning, but I just told myself to like push through that good friends and good projects like deserve endurance. And then one morning, an email from one of my co hosts, Clarissa, popped up in my email box. And she wrote, we've looked at our schedules and our lives, her and Molly, and this just doesn't fit anymore. We think it's time for food shrinks to come to a natural close. I mean, I'm paraphrasing it, whatever. And I was heartbroken. I was. And I stared at that screen for a long time. And like my stomach dropped and my chest got hot. Like I felt really hurt and offended and honestly, like even a little betrayed. And like this is the beautiful thing about sort of understanding our nervous systems and understanding our trauma. Because the story I started telling was like they were quitting on me, right? Like, and they were abandoning me, which is so much of the trauma that I came into this world with. And so here's what I know about me. When the big feelings come that big, do nothing, right? That's a slogan in Al-Anon. Doing nothing is doing something. And so I just took a couple of days with it. I took one day because I felt like I had to respond to the email. But after taking this day, and I realized that what they were saying was actually my truth also, right? It was actually true for me. I had just been too scared to say it first. Whew. And it really made me think about how not everything is meant to last forever, right? Everything has a season and a reason and a time sometimes. And that doesn't have to be ugly. And so it reminded me I really love Mark Nepo's Book of Awakening. And his September 15th reading was beautiful. I'm just going to give you three lines of it. Absolutely beautiful as it comes to this. To love something enough to let it go is to give it freedom twice. The art of living is not in holding on or letting go, but in learning to dance between the two. I'll read that again for those of you in the back. To love something enough to let it go is to give it freedom twice. The art of living is not in holding on or letting go, but in leaning. Oh, sorry. Let me read that again. So let me do the thing. Okay. So let me read it again for those of you in the back. To love something enough to let it go is to give it freedom twice. The art of living is not in holding on or letting go, but in learning to dance between the two. Gosh, it's so perfect, right? Those words really remind me that closure can actually be sacred, that love doesn't need to be measured by how long something lasts, but by the grace with which we allow it to complete its purpose. So, December 31st, our word of the day is completion. And completion isn't quitting, it is conscious closure. It's that exhale after a long inhale and standing at the edge of something that is over and bowing to it with gratitude for what it gave and grace for what it took. Because completions are really, when I'm in my wise mind and not in my trauma, these are essential rhythms of life. Every ending comes with a beginning, right? And when we allow something to complete on its own terms, we clear space for what's next to arrive. Sort of like a spiritual vacuum. When we let something go, we allow something new and probably better to come in its place. And remember, without endings, nothing new can be born. And here we are. It's the turning of a season. Like winter isn't a failure of summer, it's a completion. And each season ends so that another can bloom. And so completion asks us to trust that letting go is fertile ground, that what feels like emptiness right now may be the very soil that grows what's next. And the truth is, like, I don't love endings. Who does, right? I either hold on tight, right? Long after the spark is gone, or I cut and run faster than you can say my name. And so finding the middle, like that gentle place of honoring what was and releasing it without drama is very hard for me. It can be. But this food shrinks taught me something that I didn't know that I needed to learn, that endings don't have to be ugly to be true. They can be tender and respectful and even beautiful. And our last episode, you can go listen to it. It's one of my favorite episodes of a podcast that I've ever done in my whole life because it's rich with truth and it's rich with like appreciation. And that's what a good closing is, right? And sometimes the most loving thing that we can do is stop forcing something to stay alive when it's already complete, to say thank you for what has been, and to let it breathe its final breath in peace. And, we have our group chat, me and Molly and Clarissa, and we miss each other. We miss the laughter and the ritual and the intimacy and the check ins. But, underneath that sadness, I think is a quiet knowing for all three of us that we did what we came to do. And when we all finally stopped fighting that truth, I think our gratitude became even bigger. And the best part for us, it created such a open space for me to fully commit to this podcast, right? To the daily ascent. And that feels like such a great gift. So, our reflective question today, where in your life may you be gripping too tightly or cutting too quickly? And what would completion look like if you met it with grace instead of fear? Great, great question to close out the year with. And it's the question that I'm carrying too, because, most of us are just trying to learn the dance, right? Between holding on and letting go and holding on and letting go. And so if something in your life is shifting or ending like the year is, let it end with kindness. Celebrate it, grieve it, bless it for what it gave you, and trust that what comes next will hold its own kind of beauty. And so until next time, my ascenders, I'm here rooting you on through the chaos and the still, and I will see you tomorrow in 2026.